evening, everybody, and welcome to Homeschool's Daily Meds. Night one, two, one. Bow, bow, bow. So, I received an email question today about visualization. Yeah, that's a good one, right? And take two. No. About visualizing. And the question was, when you're trying to manifest something, is it better to meditate and speak positive affirmations and visualize daily, or let go and let God, knowing that it is in good spiritual hands of the universe? Okay, so here's why I love this question. There are two parts of the soul represented in the question. The finite self is saying, okay, if I do this and I do this and I do this, does it work? Is that enough? How do I make this happen, damn it? And then the other part is I let go, I let God, and it just works out. So that's your finite self on the first part of that question and the infinite part on the other side of the question. Does everybody hear that and feel that and kind of understand it? Yeah. So yes, when we are creating destiny, and this is such a great question, especially for a shaman, because it's so important to understand that you are in the seat of your destiny. You're the driver. You're not in the passenger, you're not in the trunk, you're not connected by a rope that's being pulled by the car. There's no other force that's at work with the way that things transpire in your life except for you as a co-creator. So you're in the front seat, sometimes you're the driver, sometimes you're the passenger, but someone's always driving and someone's always the passenger. So whether you're driving and spirit's in the passenger seat, or spirit's in the driver's seat and you're in the passenger seat, either one of those combinations are good. If you're in the car and spirit, you're not letting spirit in the car, I think your destination might be a little funky. It's certainly going to be one, and more importantly than that, it's certainly going to be a destination you've gone to before. When the destination changes is when you do the change. So people oftentimes say, why does this keep happening? Why does the same guy keep coming in my life? Why do I keep having this happen? It's not because you're stuck, it's because you're learning something. And the lesson probably hasn't been completely achieved yet. You will have to learn the lesson on a bunch of different levels. First of all, you have to figure out what the initial reason is that the karma keeps happening. But then you may have it revisit you just to make sure you got the lesson. And I see a lot of people putting themselves in a place of less than in that circumstance, because even though they've done the work, they think, oh God, it's showing up again. Like, why is it showing up? Well, sometimes it shows up so you can know that you've changed. Sometimes that pattern shows up again to teach you that you're reacting differently to it. So the most important thing is always just to notice that you've changed. So when we want something to happen, as much as there are molecules in the room that you're in, are the amount of opportunities for how that circumstance could be and how it could evolve. There are that many potential outcomes. Unfortunately, we get very myopic. This was a very sad fact they taught us in trauma school, that we vary about 3% in our lives in the decisions that we make. That, to me, doesn't sound very exciting, and it sounds very predictable. So to have authentic thought, to learn from yourself and from your choices, not necessarily mistakes, but to learn from your choices, and to allow yourself to be in a place where you can do something completely different, means that you're letting yourself change as time goes on. And it's not very comfortable but it's necessary. It really is. Otherwise, you will feel like it's kind of Groundhog's Day. The visualization is important because you want to give a future trajectory. You want to allow there to be something that is so real about the future and so real about a potential moment that you can vision it. So that's what visualization is. Visualization isn't, oh God, I hope this works. Visualization is saying, I'm going to let that moment be so real that I can feel how it feels. So look at how we're dealing with meditation. So when we step into, let's say, that field that we visit quite often in meditation, we open up all of our senses. So we open up, how does it feel to be here? What can I hear when I'm here? What do I know when I'm here? What does it feel like for my feet? Can I sense a temperature? Do I smell something? What you're doing is you're allowing your entire nervous system to imprint a memory, just like you would if you had a physical trip to the park. So your mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined if what you imagine is real enough. I'll say that one more time because it's a good one. Your mind doesn't, your mind, not your brain, well, it's really your brain. I have to say, I actually have to rephrase it. Your brain. So more or less the part of you that's that pick up information, store it, and have it in a place where it's a memory. Your brain does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. If what is imagined is real enough. So you want to get so good at visualization that you're creating a virtual memory. And what you do by doing that is we create a latitude, a longitude in space and time for a potential future to happen. That's co-creating. That's how powerful your perceptions are. Now, conversely, if you repeat something about yourself, then that affects, you hear it, so that affects your thinking, which is the mind part, that mental plane of your energy field. Then if you think it enough, you'll feel it, which then it gets imprinted in the emotional part of your energy field. And then the last part is it affects your physical body. So much in the way that we want to create a future destiny, we want to be really careful about the negative things we say to ourselves because we can actually affect our own health by doing that. So back to creating future. Visualizing, that's creating the moment in time and the hopeful expectation. Now, if you create, so if I take my fishing pole of future destiny and I cast it out and I do a great job with it and it's way out there, if I'm spending a whole bunch of time with fear and doubt, I don't know if I'm ready. God, I just, it's essentially like me taking the line of that awesome cast I've just done and I'm pulling it back in. So I'm actually decreasing the potential of that destiny because I am contradicting myself. So the affirmations support the trajectory, even if you don't even feel like if you're absolutely part of it, the affirmations then support a good cast. I've never fished before, but for some reason, someone's ancestor must have been could someone tell me whose ancestor was the awesome fisherman and why I'm using fishing analogies? Because this is absolutely not my normal lingo. So just whoever that is, just name it. Oh, Sally, you do this. It's Sally's fault. It's Sally's fault because she's the fisherman. No, no, your family, Francisca. Okay, okay, okay. I'm not a fisherman. Weird. But normally, so what happens as a medium is I'm paying attention to the analogies I use, and if they're not mine, then I know that somebody's nearby. Okay. Well, that could be that. So anyway, so we've cast really well, more or less. We've set that vision. And Richard, please let me make sure, please make sure that this is making sense for you because this is from your question. So the casting is the visualization. Then the affirmations is the weight on the line. That's the sink. That's the sinker. That's the thing that's the anchor. That's the thing that, so we're going to cast it out there. And then once the line is way out there, we want an anchor that puts it into the ground that says, this is one direction that I want to go. Then the funny part about visualization and affirmations is, you know what the third step is? That's the hardest part. Cutting the line. Because if we put it out there and we sink it and we assume that that's the one road that's possible, who are we forgetting? The universe, the invisible hands behind a magic moment. So when we, as shamans, so what shamans would do is they would have someone come to them with a problem, and let's say they vision into the future and they see a casted line that is not a desirable destination. What they would do is keep visualizing other lines to diffuse the impact if that needed to happen for the soul. But the last part of it always is to completely let the whole thing go, because then the magic of spirit and miracle can create the best destiny, even better than you ever would have thought. Your only job is to trust that once that forward motion happens, that it's happening for you, not to you. Because if it happens to you, you're putting yourself in victim, and you may create things happening in that circumstance that are not pleasurable. Okay, does that make sense? Is everybody with this? Okay, I'm going to just check the box. Okay. Penny asks a good question. In your visualization, can you set a time frame? So I love that part of you. I love that little finite part that goes, well, can I control this somehow? Can I be part of this, right? Can't you feel that part? You know, like, oh, so no, you can put the potential hope out there. Absolutely. But that's also why when a psychic or a medium, I don't like the word psychic, but when an intuitive is giving you information on time, time is so flexible. It's sometimes it absolutely is spot on. You know, if it's generated from spirit and they give a time frame, I'll totally listen to it. But it's the time is us trying to control it, and we don't understand time anyway, because spirit proves that all the time. Okay. Okay. That's funny. You have to get out of line sometimes. Well, and you get out of line. You're good that way. Okay. What if we're not sure we can survive the time? Oh, Evelyn. Okay. So that's where just prayer comes in. That's where you have to have deeper faith. Because what I would say, okay, so Evelyn, I'm going to take a moment just with you on this one. Do you know what's underneath that question? Is there's two things. One is fear, and I don't know if everybody can feel it, right? Fear. There's fear underneath it. I'm not sure I can survive this. So, yeah. And anger that you have to deal with it. So, the sooner you can come to a place of trusting the facts, so that part of it is the happening to me. That's victimizing, that's disempowering. And it's really tough when it comes to physical stuff, and that's what's happening. So in that circumstance, what it's demanding of you is the ability to look at it as what is it teaching you about yourself? And the sooner you can get on board with what the lesson is, the faster it can shift. And I promise you, it's crazy fast how much that happens. But if you can shift from that place of happening to me to happening for me, what are the benefits? What have I learned from this adversity? How is it making me stronger? And if you can gain that wisdom, it will shift faster. And if it's a faith piece, then just practice the surrender of it, because the surrender is the detachment. So Richard, circling back when you were talking about the visualization and the stuff, like I've checked this box and I've checked this box. Now what the hell do I do? The detachment part is then saying, and I trust the fact that it's going to happen exactly as it needs to happen. And when you practice detachment, the outcome is always 100% better than you could ever have done yourself. Always. But we don't know it unless we let go. But we don't like letting go. So, global lesson right now. Boy, are we all in a classroom about detachment because we can't control a darn thing right now. So, what a great time to meditate. All right. So with that said, let's dive into meditation. Great questions though. Great questions. Okay. You're welcome, Richard. Okay. So the first thing I want us to do is just be an observer to this physical body you have and the energy of your soul. And notice where the most amount of your energy is in your field right now. So when I say field, I'm talking about not your physical body. I'm talking about the energy that is within you and then exceeds and expands outside of you. So does it feel just by simple observation that there's more energy inside or outside right now? And you may discover in observation that there's energy inside and outside. So just notice where the energy is. It might be in a different place. If it's in a different place than where you used to there being a buildup of energy, take a moment and ask yourself what was different about today that might shift my energy. If it's showing up in a place that it generally shows up, just observe if it's different at all, because our energy field will be different every day. Now let's center our attention in the middle of our head. And in the center of your head, I want you to visualize a crystal. It can be colored or clear. And I want you to notice the size, its shape, and when we're visualizing, I just want to give you a check in for your own empowerment. Is it easier for you to visualize with your focus point being in the center of your head? Can you see the crystal clearly there? Or if you float the image of the crystal just above your eyes in your head, is it easier for you to see it there? Some people see better in the center of their head. Other people see it like it's on a screen just above their eyes inside their head, although the image will actually seem like it's outside of your physical body. So wherever it's easiest for you to visualize, just see that crystal. Notice where the facets are, more or less the Almost looks like shaved off parts. And then allow yourself to imagine walking around it. And I want you to find the door. Where's the door to the crystal? And it might be under the crystal, wherever it is. So wherever that door is, allow yourself to either open the door, or if it's like an elevator, to take that opening up and come into the center of the crystal, like there's a chair or a lounge, almost like you're in a spaceship. So imagine being in this crystal now with all of this color or clarity around you. If there's color to your crystal, you can still see through. And like Willy Wonka's glass elevator, we're going to let our crystal just gently start to move and float up, not with the ferocity of Willy Wonka's, but in a little bit of a calmer fashion. So just get that sensation of rising and just have that feeling of rising, almost as if you're being lifted up while inside this crystal. So as this crystal rises above our soul space, it's going to now find itself in space and time, like we're floating in the middle of the universe. And I want you to notice that underneath the crystal, which you can see, there is a line that goes directly behind you through eternity, and a line going forward through eternity. So it's as if the crystal is resting on a single line behind you and in front of you. So the first thing I want you to do is feel the energy of forward motion. So if you just focus straight ahead on that potential line of destiny, almost like it's a highway, single lane highway. I want you to feel, where do you feel the energy of your becoming? Where do you feel the energy in your force, in your energy field? What part of your inside around a chakra energy do you feel with this idea of going forward with empowerment? Some people can feel it around their stomach, some people their heart, some people their throat. It depends on what is being activated by giving yourself permission to go forward. So I want you to imagine something that you want to manifest, something in the future you really, really, really want to experience. And I would suggest using this opportunity to go big. Pick something that is a little scary in the good way, because it's demanding of you to really step into yourself quite profoundly. Now, as you begin to build that idea, I want you to check back into your energy field and feel the energy around your heart It will begin to feel a little bit like a mixture of fear and excitement. I want you to memorize that feeling because that's a good feeling. That's not to be mistaken for fear only. That's the excitement about what we don't know. So feel the tingling if it's there, feel that kind of spiraling of energy. And if it connects to another energy center, like your throat, like your stomach, like your any of the other chakras, that's wonderful because a moment of taking yourself to the next level will oftentimes need to shift your energy from what has been to what will be. So now that you feel that energy, we're going to pop up a movie screen. And in front of that, on that movie screen, I want you to start visualizing what is that moment going to be? Not the wish. I want like time after it manifests. So not the actual receiving of the idea, but what is it like 6 months later, a year later, after that particular thing has manifested? What is your life going to look like then? And just allow that movie screen to start showing you your life after that experience manifests. Where will you be? Who will you be with? What new opportunities come your way? What needs to, what has changed to allow this moment to happen? Now, I want the you in the movie to see a mirror and look at yourself in this future moment and memorize how you look and, more importantly, how you feel. So step into that future you and feel how your energy feels different. And then you're going to shape shift out of your future self. And future self is going to hand you a gift. And I just want you to notice what the gift is. And on this particular timeline, I want you to place that gift in that moment, somewhere in that scene. Place the gift somewhere in the moment of that scene. And then you're going to notice that the crystal is floating in front of you. And you're going to morph back into fitting into the crystal. And you're going to float back through the timeline, down that timeline, back to the place that we started, back to when we were looking forward at a line of destiny. Now, from that single line that we've explored, I want you to also witness the other lines now that light up in different directions of different ways that this particular scenario could play out. And notice some go to the left, some go to the right, some start forward and branch off of that initial forward highway. So there might be exits along this one highway. All of those different lines represent choices that you make that alter the potential destiny for you. And I want you to just notice that no matter what decisions you make, you still are going forward. You're still going to be okay. So in this moment, you're going to imagine having a big pair of scissors, and you're just going to cut all of those lines of destiny and grab the lines together like a bunch, and then let all of the lines of destiny have a helium balloon connected to it. So you're holding the string of a whole bunch of balloons. And look up at the colors. They're all different colors. And then you're simply going to say a prayer about what you would like. And then on the count of 3, you're going to let go of the strings. 1, 2, 3. Open your hand and let all the strings go. And just watch as they float away. And you come back to being in that crystal, floating in the middle of the universe, and notice how clean and expanded that universe is now. Perhaps the stars, if you see them, are brighter. Perhaps it feels like now you're in an IMAX theater where there's even more space. And then we're going to imagine that crystal just beginning to descend from that universe, coming down nearer our soul space. So if you look down, you can see your physical body below. You're just going to let that crystal drop into your soul space and come into the top crown chakra, like a lotus that just opens and says, "Welcome home." And then you bring your consciousness into that sixth chakra, wherever that crystal was, whether in the center of your head or right above your eyebrows. And then just step out of your crystal. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and exhale. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. How that's so awesome. Suzanne, that's awesome. Suzanne saw a bunch of helium blues flying above while driving today. See, the spirit world will always give us signs ahead of time that don't always make sense, that affirm what happens later. And that's Suzanne, Sue, thanks for sharing that because that's the thing about signs. We expect it to be in our awareness of time, which is so bass backwards. It's not just going forward and that's the decision. It's any direction, up, down, right, left, front, back. There's so many options. So did people have an experience after releasing the balloons of sensing the space being different? Did you feel that? Okay. Good. More peace, clearer vision. Yes. Expanded space. Yeah. Yeah. And I hadn't planned on going there. I just let but I think I love what we were led to do because it was essentially feeling that energy of exactly how you create things and what happens when you do. And that sense of relief and release is so wonderful because if you do it, you give the spirit world permission, and not just the spirit world, you give the universe permission to act on your behalf. We want that. We want to co-create this experience. We can't be the only driver. There's always a blind spot, always a blind spot. And if you think you can imagine the best scenario, you have a little bit of self limitation in there. You have your own self doubt in there. Universe, they've got a whole other version for you, whole other version for you. So it is about trust and it's about faith. And especially in a time period when it seems on the macrocosm level that there is chaos. That's just what's outside, and that's just what needs to change. It's got to find a balance. It's going to take a little time. So, in the meantime, we build our microcosm, our personal universe. We spend time nurturing that, and that ensures our forward motion no matter what happens outside. Okay, good. Yay, Whitney. Penny, that reminds me of that statement. Ugh, instant gratification. It takes so long, you know? So, time. Funny, right? Speaking of time, it's time. All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening. It was lovely spending time with you, and I will see you tomorrow night. Okay. See you later. Bye.